Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to make a digital collage using Photopea.com, which is an online free software that is really similar to Photoshop. It's going to be dead useful, especially in the coming weeks. So first thing you need to do is go to www.photopea.com and you'll get this page to start off with. You don't have to download anything. It's all done in the browser. Okay, so the next thing you need to do is go to File and Open the first image that you would like to use as maybe like the base image for your collage. So I have chosen this black and white face image, and I'm going to use this as like the basis for my collage and maybe change some of the facial elements. So I could change the mouth to something else, like a different mouth. I could change the eyes. I could maybe put some different hair on there, or something that's maybe not even hair at all. Like, what about if she had flower petals instead of hair? I could change her top, putting maybe some texture or some colour in there just to build up the image, exactly like you would make a collage on paper by cutting and sticking. It's exactly the same process, except we're working with digital images. So I just wanted to demonstrate how to cut things out and layer them up, basically. So now I've opened the base image, which is this black and white face. I'm going to open the next image, which is an eye that I've got prepared that I want to use to replace this eye with. This larger eye in the image. We're not actually going to remove this eye, we're just going to stick another image over the top. And I suppose the beauty of making a digital collage rather than one by hand is that you can keep swapping and changing your elements and changing the composition, changing the scale, without making any permanent changes. So you've got a little bit more freedom than you would have if you were working with paper-based collage elements. So to open the next element, which is the eye, I'm going to go to File, Open and Place. I'm not going to go to Open because I don't want the eye to open as a separate document. I want it to open on top of my current document. So that's why I'm going to choose Open and Place. And then I'm going to go to my desktop where I've got all of the elements saved, ready to go. I recommend that you have all your elements saved and ready to go, either in a folder or on your desktop so that they're handy. So I'm going to choose this one, eye, and press open. And you'll notice how this eye has opened as a new layer on top of the original black and white image. It's not a separate document, it's already there on top of it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this eye to generally the position that I want it to be in. So I want it to cover this right hand eye that we can see. I'm going to move my eye till it more or less covers the area that I want it to appear in. Okay, so I want it to be like kind of there. And then when I'm happy with the placement, I'm going to hit the return key, which is also sometimes known as enter, and that will lock my eye into place. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to do to allow me to edit this image is I'm going to come over here to where it says eye in the layers panel, and I'm going to right click on that, and I'm going to click rasterize, and that basically unlocks the layer and allows me to edit it, to change the colour, to crop it, to do whatever I want to it basically. But I might have trouble making any changes without doing that rasterize step. It's a really important step. So the next thing I'm going to do is come over to my toolbar on the left-hand side, and I'm going to choose this third tool down, which is called the polygonal lasso. Now, if I click and hold that tool, you'll see that a little family of other tools open. These all do pretty much the same thing in that they allow you to draw around and select a specific area of an image to isolate it. They all work in slightly different ways, but achieve the same end result. Okay, my personal favourite out of these three is the polygonal lasso. That's the one that I feel I've got the most control over, but you might want to experiment with all three. It's purely down to personal preference which one you choose. So now I've got that tool selected, I'm going to draw around the area of the eye that I want to isolate, the bit that I want to keep. And I'm basically going to crop all the rest of it away. So I'm going to follow the natural sort of line of this person's eyelid and trace around that eye now. So I start by clicking sort of in the corner here, and you'll see that a line extends from the point where I've clicked, so I can actually see the area that I'm tracing. So I'm going to follow this sort of eyelid line around. It's up to you how you decide to do this. You could cut things out really super neatly, or if you wanted it to have more of a kind of cut and paste or like a bit of a rough look, then you could cut things out more, you know, roughly or with more sort of angles. It's totally up to you. Okay, when you've got around to the area that you started at, you just click and you'll see that this dotted line appears around that eye now. And that's the area that is currently selected. Now then, if I press delete, I'm going to delete that eye, the bit that's selected, but I don't actually want to delete that. I want to delete everything that's on the outside of the eye. So what I need to do is invert my selection, and I'm going to do that on my keyboard by pressing Control, Shift, and I together. And when I did that, my selection changed from what was inside that dotted line to everything that's on the outside of it, so that now when I hit delete, I get rid of the area that I don't want and I'm left with just the eye that I do want. Okay, so now I've cut that eye out, I can use the move tool, which is the arrow on the top of the toolbar, to reposition it. I can sort of drag it into place. If I end up with any extra bits on the image like this that I don't want, I can use the polygonal lasso to draw around those and delete it again. Really quickly doing this and roughly, because it's not a specific shape, it's just the sort of extra that I didn't quite get on my first go. There's another little bit there that I'm going to delete. Okay, so now I've got rid of all the excess on my image. I can use that move tool to get my eye into position. It's quite a bit larger than what the original eye was, but I quite like that exaggerated look. I feel like that links in well with the artist who I looked at as inspiration for this project. If I wanted to, I could scale that eye up even more or reduce the size, and I would do that by going to Edit and Transform, and then I would choose the scale option, and that will allow me, it'll first of all give me a box around the eye, and it'll allow me to drag these corners. I can make it smaller, I can exaggerate it even further if I wanted to, drag it into place, and when I'm happy with my choice, I'm just going to hit the return key again to lock it into place. Okay, so that's how you will cut out elements and start to layer them up to create a digital collage.